Welcome to Envisioned Broadcasting. Envisioned Broadcasting. The station designed to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. An affiliate of Direct Impact Broadcasting and Creative Broadcasting, presenting the EmPower Hour with Jaresha, a show that shares the stories behind the journeys of leaders, influencers, and motivators. The EmPower Hour with Jaresha begins now.
Welcome to EmPower Hour with Jaresha. I am your host, Jaresha Moore. A little bit about myself: I am a best-selling author with over 18 years of combined experience in education, finance, healthcare, business management and development, and sales, owner and founder of EmPower on Purpose, LLC, where we provide leadership training and personal professional coaching and consulting services. Certified coach, speaker, and trainer with the John Maxwell team, and owner of Envision Broadcasting radio station. So today I want to share with you guys a really exciting announcement about an upcoming event that's happening. The event is actually happening next Saturday, April 18th at 8 p.m. EmPower on Purpose is collaborating with WEW, or Women Encouraging Women, to present you a virtual vision board event. And we guarantee that it's going to be so much fun. We're going to have an absolute blast. So let's gather together for a vision board party so you can get your magazines, you can get your crafts, your snacks, and get ready to go get them. You don't want to miss the opportunity to connect, collaborate, and level up on your vision and goals. For details, visit EmPower on Purpose Eventbrite page to learn more information on how you can register. So today's empowerment quote is: "The secret of success is to do the common thing uncommonly well," by John D. Rockefeller Jr. This is such a great quote. There are so many ways we can succeed in life and in business, but the key is to focus on and do the things that you need to do to achieve it. We can do this by adopting and adapting to proven principles. So today I want to share 7 proven steps from my mentor, John C. Maxwell. And you know how you come across some amazing information, amazing nuggets of wisdom, and you're like, I absolutely have to share this with someone. Well, this is exactly what this is. So here are the 7 steps. Number 1, make a commitment to grow daily. Success comes from growing, not from achieving, acquiring, or advancing. If you commit to growing each day, you will soon start noticing positive results in your life. Every action that you take towards growing will bring you closer to success. It doesn't matter. Step number 2, value the process more than events. If your goal is to go to the next level in life, then strive for continuous improvement. Events in life are temporary. They teach you how to make better decisions. However, it is a process of change, growth that has lasting value. Choose to embrace the process and learn from both the process and the event. Step number 3, don't wait for inspiration. People who advance far in life find ways to motivate themselves and live the best they can regardless of how they feel. At times, they even have to push themselves to do certain things. Successful people persevere. Basketball great Jerry West said, "You can't get much done in life if you only work on the days when you feel good." Step number 4, be willing to sacrifice pleasure for opportunity. There are 2 paths to follow. You can play now and pay later, or pay now and play later. You choose whether you will first want to pay or play. Regardless of the path you choose to take, life will always demand a payment. If you choose to pay first, you will be more pleased with your results and enjoy greater and sweeter rewards. Step number 5, dream big. If you're going to dream, dare to dream. Dreaming small may keep you from discovering what you're truly made of. Step number 6, plan your priorities. Successful people have many things in common, and one of them is that they have mastered the art of how to effectively manage their time. More than anything, they have organized themselves. Henry Kaiser, founder of Kaiser Aluminum and Kaiser Permanente Healthcare, says every minute spent in planning will save you to an execution. Time cannot be retrieved, so live every moment the best you can. And the final step, step 7, give up to go up. Everything that has value comes as a result of making sacrifices. Life will present you with countless opportunities to trade something you value for something else. Keep your eyes open to identify those opportunities, and once you do, make sure that what you decide to trade will be a trade up, not down. So, without further delay, today my special guest is Michael Moore. Michael Moore is the founder of Black Achievers, a networking platform with nearly 30,000 members nationwide. Michael's mission is to build a network of Black professionals who work together to make the world a better place for everyone to live. He is the author of Achieve Your Dreams, the 9 Principles of African American Success. Michael's book inspires people to reach their full potential in life. At the age of 19, Michael taught himself to write computer code. He started designing and programming websites for businesses as a hobby while still in college. He eventually started his own web development business called Websites Express, which he grew into a multi-million dollar business employing over 10 people. Michael has a degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Cincinnati. He has also worked in corporate America. He has been an account manager for a Fortune 500 company where he managed a $5 million business unit in the engineering field. He currently works as an IT project manager overseeing a team of 30 developers at one of the largest banks in Ohio. Hello, Michael. How are you this evening? I'm so excited to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.
Absolutely. So I just shared some of your amazing bio. If you could just give, a little bit more maybe about yourself and a little bit more about your background if you wanted to share with some of our listeners, something that I didn't mention.
Well, like you said, I'm the founder of Black Achievers, which I started in 2018 to help empower Black professionals around the country, and especially here in Cincinnati. In addition to that, a lot of the things that you said in the bio, I have a degree in mechanical engineering from the University of Cincinnati, and also started a website development company. I was at the right place at the right time. Websites were extremely new at the time, and basically I rode that wave for over 2 decades, from 1994 to 2014. As you know, ups and downs in business. So in that business, the recession in 2008 was extremely difficult for all of the small businesses. So a lot of them started to close, and our business started to suffer. We had the opportunity to pivot to social media, but I actually did not see how big social media would be. It's funny to say that now, but in the moment, we did not see that, so we did not pivot towards that. And eventually our business started to shrink, and we wound up shutting down in 2014, but it was a heck of a ride of lots of highs and lows. And basically what I like to tell people is just go for it. Basically if you have a dream and it's something that you want to go for, put that money aside, invest in it, learn your craft, and things will work out. And when things are getting rough, learn how to pivot and reinvent yourself. And that's what I did. I reinvented myself. I went into corporate America, started to use a lot of the skills in technology and IT that I learned in my business to help my career there. And in doing so, I saw an opportunity or need, I would say, for Black professionals to connect with the companies that I'm operating at downtown. You just don't see our people coming together. It's something cultural. We're not networking in a way that we should, so we're not prospering in the way that we could. And the ability to come together with people who are like-minded like yourself is very, very important. And I think Black Achievers is proving that. And in addition to that, on a personal level, I'm a happily married man. I have 2 kids. I have a son that I'm very proud of. He's turning 4 in 2 weeks. And I have a 6-month-old son. So my son is MJ and JC. We went with initials, and we're real proud of that. and that's kind of where we are now with COVID-19. We're stuck in the house, and we're learning to love each other unconditionally so that we can survive this pandemic that we're going through.
Absolutely. Isn't that the truth? So, speaking of being stuck in the house, of course, I have children as well. And, that the ages range from 7 all the way up to 21. And, yeah, it's like you said, it's learning how to, really love on each other during this time because, and I have two teenagers, and, that fall within there too. And, days can get really interesting. But yeah, so, definitely during this time. So if you could give us, tell us a little bit more about how you just mentioned, but, tell the listeners a little bit more about Black Achievers and, truly how Black Achievers got started.
Yeah, so Black Achievers, I started it, like I said, out of a need that I saw really from when I was very young, probably like maybe 11 or 12 years old. I just noticed that in the Black community, we just do not champion collaboration over competition. We're always competing. And you just don't see that amongst other ethnic groups in the country. I mean, they're working together towards common goals. They're investing their money together. They're helping each other get to different positions in life and different positions in their career. And we really are have a culture, unfortunately, where we're always trying to do it on our own. It's always just this individual effort, and we really celebrate that. And it's the opposite of the way the world really works. I mean, if you look at any CEO of any Fortune 500 company, they just did not get there on their own. Their degree didn't matter. Their expertise and intelligence did not matter. It's the relationships that they have that got them in a position that people would trust them. And that's what Black Achievers is all about, is solidifying and creating trust amongst our people so that we can start to help each other really grow, start to trust each other to invest together, start to trust each other to help each other with our careers. And that's really the genesis for what Black Achievers is in a nutshell. It's bringing our people together in unity so that we can get more of the American dream. Now, practically speaking, what that means is in 2018, I grabbed a few group of people that I knew, and we got together and said, hey, we're going to host an event for networking. So networking is the tool in which we use to bring unity amongst our people. So we said, hey, we're going to host a networking event. We thought maybe 10 or 15 people would show up. And what wound up happening is there was such a need for it that we had between 200 and 300 people show up. And it was just this huge event. It was a speed networking event, and it really showed people that, hey, there's something out here for you. You don't have to feel isolated at your company where you're the only one in every meeting or you're the only one in your department, that there are literally thousands of us that are all throughout all of the companies in Cincinnati, and as we come together, there's a lot of power in that and a lot of healing in that. So that first event spawned additional events. And then now we've gotten to the point where we're 2 years in on this Black Achievers, and it has grown exponentially. We have a great leadership team, so it's not just myself anymore. We have over 20 people who participate every Thursday who help build this and really shepherd it into reality. And it's something that could be so big and so inspirational for not only ourselves, but also our children, to give everyone hope that, hey, Black professionals and Black people who want to aspire to bigger and better things have a mechanism that you can tap into, that you don't have to do it all on your own.
Absolutely, and I just want to say that I think it's amazing. So I first learned about Black Achievers through another Black professional, and this was at a time where I had actually been looking for some kind of networking, and here locally as far as in the Dayton, Ohio area, and really just trying to connect with other business owners. And as you mentioned, it was a very limited supply as far as limited amount of groups in the area. And so, when I learned about it, I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is awesome. This is something that, not only I need to know about, but several of the other, Black business owners that's in the area so that they can connect. And as you mentioned, of course, we always think that we have to do it on our own. But, of course, it takes a team in order to build and grow. So I think that's amazing. And I celebrate the success that you have definitely had over the course of, the last, a couple of years. I think that's absolutely amazing. So
thank you very much.
So tell us a little, let's kind of switch gears just a little bit. I would love to talk more about the fact that you are an author as well. So you have a book that you wrote, of course, called Achieve Your Dreams, the 9 Principles of African American Success. Tell us a little bit more about this book.
So this book, it really tackles a lot of the behind-the-scenes things that are going on psychologically in our community. Basically, over a period of 20 years, I had a very good degree of success, and it taught me a lot of the principles that I accumulated over that period of time, and I put them together in a book. And where it all starts at is at our child's education, and when you came through school, we are put into a system that basically programs us and gives us a lot of negative stereotypes and information about what it is to be black in America. And it's so damaging that you don't even really understand it until you get older and step back from it. But what happens is you start to learn about, world history, and when you start to bombard a child that's 5 years old and 6 years old who's African American with all of this negativity centered around slavery and oppression and Jim Crow, and just it goes on and on and on, and you see all these images that are so decimating about your community. And then basically you take this child at 18 or 19 or 20 years old and you say, hey, go out into the world and be successful. And that just doesn't work. If it worked, we would have already had way more success in this country than we currently have, and we don't own and control our communities because by the time we get into adulthood, we don't have the right principles or mindsets or techniques or support for us to start to heal some of those wounds that basically make us feel like we're inferior. And this inferiority complex really is at the root of the cause for a lot of the problems that we have in our community. And I felt that way all through the way I came up. I was very proud of who I was and very talented and had all these accolades. But at the end of the day, I was African American in all white, predominantly white school, and it's just like everywhere I turned, you just saw all this negativity in the news and the media and about how black people are lazy or stupid or promiscuous or et cetera, and just bombarded with all this negativity. We have to start to teach our children and teach our people that these things aren't true, that we are individuals, that your mom and your father and your brother and your sister, and that we're all good people and we do good things and we have amazing abilities, and it's not just a few of us, it's all of us. And that is really the premise of the book, and the book goes through 9 different ways for you to bring yourself out of this mentality that when you see another black person that has a business, your first thought is, oh, I shouldn't do business with them because they might be scamming me. Or, oh, I shouldn't connect with this person because they might not be as intelligent as somebody else. Or, just so many negative things that I remember going through when I was in my 20s. I have a company that's, super successful. We're hiring people, we're doing things. And when African Americans who were even more successful than I was at the time would approach me for partnerships, I would subconsciously say, oh, I want to stay away from this person because, that may damage our brand or may not, may pigeonhole us into only being able to do black businesses or all this negative stuff. And it really limited my business. It was something that limited me all the way through, and I don't want that to happen to other people. And I know other people in business now have those types of problems, are always looking for help outside of our community when there's so much intelligence and richness and amazing people within our community that every other community wants to seek to exploit and wants to seek to have them on their team, but then we don't want to have the same people on our team. So it's a lot of psychology that's involved, and this book really breaks it down. And I would encourage anyone to, if they want to get a copy, it is on Amazon. And, it's a good read, and it's something that's very practical that can help you really achieve the next level of success. And it's specifically written for black people to solve the problem that we have.
Absolutely. I think it's absolutely amazing because I can tell you, just in my experience, and working with several, other business owners and just hearing, being in that circle, hearing some of, the negativity, some of the talk, some of the reservations for, from working with, black professionals. And it truly is really, I look at it as very sad that, that we as a people, feel that way. And it could be because of maybe a bad experience with someone else, but, so you can't just, say everyone else, every other professional based off of one experience. And so that's really, really good. And so I really, truly hope that the listeners will definitely, look into hopping on Amazon and getting that book, because I definitely think it's something that's very much needed in the education, even from the standpoint of what you mentioned, from our, some of the younger generations, and even the odor, is something that they can definitely utilize and that would be beneficial for their business. It's understanding those principles and how we can truly succeed together versus looking at, not wanting to compare or saying, just some of the negativity that kind of comes along with that. And, I know that we're all familiar with some of that negativity. And the sad part is most of us, probably have even experienced that or said that within our own businesses. So that's truly amazing. So at the age 19, you taught yourself how to write a computer code. And then, of course, you start designing and programming websites for businesses as a hobby. You went on to, develop and, start your Website Express, which grew into a multi-million-dollar business employing over 10 people, which I think that's absolutely amazing. So talk to us a little bit about what truly made you decide to do all of this at the age of 19.
So in life, you always have someone who you really look up to, and ideally that would be your father or mother. And in my case, I was very fortunate to have a father who instilled a lot of principles in me. And the one thing that he told me very early on, which I didn't understand at the time, but he said, use your youth wisely and to go after your dreams immediately. He said, because, as you get older and you start to have more responsibilities such as family and commitments like that, it'll be extremely difficult. And, of course, at 15 and 16, I really wasn't, understanding that. But as I got into college, I started to see how everyone was really excited about like internships and co-ops and all that. And my parents, they let me participate, but they really discouraged that. They said, that's a path that will always be there. Get your education and you can always go and get a job, but you only have an opportunity once, twice in your lifetime to start something for yourself that you'd be really passionate about. And when the opportunity for website development came along, prior to that, I was already doing T-shirts and T-shirt designs for fraternities and sororities and going out and selling them on the street and just doing a lot of entrepreneurial stuff. So what website development did was it allowed me to legitimize it and put it into a business. Instead of just hustling here and there making money, it allowed me to say, hey, Mom and Dad, I'm actually going to start a company. And then that's why I went ahead and learned how to, educate myself on HTML and JavaScript and how to write those things and design websites, and started to put that together and start to offer that in the Web 1.0 design craze that was going on, and really rode that wave. And I would have never been able to do that without my father instilling that in me. Had he been a different type of man, he would have basically said, hey, you get your education, you get a job, and then that's the path. And he didn't do that, and luckily that's really something that I'm going to pass on to my children. And in addition to that, invest for them so that they have the capital they need to go after their dreams early on in life.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you also said to surround yourself with successful people. Can you share with the listeners what that truly means and how do you go about doing that?
Yeah, I would say, and especially I speak from a place in my youth more so than I do as my current age. But when I think back, one is don't think you know what success is. Don't define people as successful based on just money or outward things, because there's a lot of successful people who do not carry themselves that way, or you would not know. So you really have to look at the character of the person and the way they think, and really be attracted to the mindset more so than anything else. And when you do that, you will start to run into people that can become your mentor. So when I said surround yourself with successful people, that's really how I got started. Outside of my father giving me the mindset, the next thing is you need somebody to give you a shot. No matter who you are, I don't care if you're LeBron James or Michael Jordan or wherever, you have to have somebody that gives you a chance. There has to be a coach, there has to be some mentor, and every successful person has that. So if you're going through your life and you don't have a mentor in your life, you are already not on the path of success. It's just not possible. No one does it on their own. You just can't see it by yourself. You need people. And in my case, there was an individual who was the dean of students at the University of Cincinnati who I was shooting pool one day, and he was in the pool hall, and we had met and we started playing. And he basically took me under his wing. He said, "What are you planning on doing?" And I said, "Well, I graduate in 6 months, but I want to start my own business." He said, "Well, what's holding you back from starting your own business?" And I said, "Well, I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to get customers. I just know that I want to be in business. I don't want to go and work for someone." And he says, "Well, come by my office." And next thing you know, this simple conversation with this man I don't know turns into a lifelong mentorship where he gives me my first contract for $30,000 that allowed me not to have to get a job. It allowed me to build $1 million company off of one conversation. Now, if I had looked at him, I would have said, "Oh, he's not a millionaire. He's not a business owner. He's not all this negative talk," and talk myself out of being mentored by him. But the reality is he was the right mentor at the right time to give me just what I needed in order for me to turn that dream into a reality. So mentors are all around us. We have to be able to see them and embrace them and take from them what they're willing to give to us so that we can turn it into, reality. And that's what I would say to people. So surround yourself with successful people at every stage of your life.
Absolutely. And just to piggyback off of that, because oftentimes, we think that, when we have a mentor or coach, we just have to have one. I'll tell you that I can speak firsthand that I have several mentors and coaches. And so, for different areas of our life. So, yes, it's so important to have a mentor and coaching, in your life that's going to help you, give you that advice, hold you accountable, and truly support you through your journey, your dreams, and your goals. So can you tell us, of course, we just talked about, how, of course, at 19, you started your own web development business, and, you had that dream, and you, of course, went in and fulfilled and, pursued that dream. Can you tell us how you truly found the strength and courage to pursue the life you wanted to live and, possibly give some advice to others as far as how they find that courage and strength to pursue the life they want to live?
Yeah, so really, that comes from really getting clear on what you want out of life. The courage part is I was scared to start my own business because I was scared to tell everyone that, hey, I'm not going to use my mechanical engineering degree. I'm going to go over here and basically scrape by and work a part-time job. But you have to have the courage because what you don't want to do is live with regret. I tell everyone, just realize that, this life is not promised, and especially in this time, and that you don't know how long you really have. You have to say, hey, listen, in the time that I'm given right now, I'm going to live in the moment, and I'm going to start this investment. I'm going to start this side business. I'm going to make it happen. I didn't just jump in and go full-time. I had a part-time job that I was working from 4 p.m. to midnight every night, and then I would just basically sleep for a few hours, do work, and then come back in. We all, as business owners, have these hardship stories because it's very difficult, but it's easy because you're doing what you love to do. That was some of the best times in my life, is having 4 hours of sleep and having to give a presentation or having to have a design done. Like you are building something for yourself. So that joy of having it is something you have to tap into so that you don't lose sight of the fact that of the fear. So you don't get overrun by the fear, because everyone in your life, they won't get it, they won't understand it. They'll tell you that, hey, you should just get a job doing what you're doing and just do that later. They'll always tell you basically opposite of what you want to do. We have a culture of don't do that, don't. And a lot of times it might be selfish. You might have cousins, aunts and uncles who do not want to, support you in your dream. But you have to ignore those things and really focus on what you're doing with your life. Don't live it for other people. I see a lot of people do that. They don't want to take the risk or get the loan or borrow the money or, whatever it takes. At every step, it's like a video game. You're always at risk. And if you are not comfortable with that, you have to learn the mindset that will allow you to deal with it. Because if you're not doing that, then what you're really doing is saying, hey, I don't want my dreams to become reality. And that's depressing in and of itself. You much rather be going after what you really want in life than to sit back. So understanding that, and hopefully I'm able to articulate that to enough people so that they so that they go after their dreams, because, you know, you're always too young. I remember hearing that I was too young forever. And then as I got into my 40s, they're like, oh, you're too old now. You got kids. What are you trying to do this Black Achievers thing? I'm like, well, when are you the right age? Like, when are you at the age where you can actually go after your dreams? I'm like, I'm too young for 20 years. Now I'm too old. Like, oh, you're older than Obama was when he became president. I'm like, well, hey, you know, I still want to build Black Achievers. It's this huge thing that's really change the world, and it doesn't matter if I'm 60 years old when I'm doing it. But people just want to basically put you in a box where you're not successful. So that's what I tell people, is go for it at all times and don't listen to anyone that's trying to stop you.
Yes, absolutely. And if, you know, this crisis doesn't teach, you know, people anything, it's, you know, tomorrow is not promised, as you mentioned. So if you have a dream, pursue it, go after it, take action. You know, it's so important, because at the end of the day, you know, you'll find yourself in shoulda, woulda, coulda. Oh, I should have this and I should have that, or I would have this and I would have that. So it's so important to really pursue those dreams and just do it. Forget about the naysayers, because they're always going to be there, always. Always going to have something to say against what we do. You know, as you mentioned with the age, you know, you're too old, too young. There is no age on your dream. Whatever age you are, I know someone that was in their 60s that decided to start their business. You know, there's no age cap on your dreams. So absolutely. So what would you say has been the biggest challenge that you faced so far?
Oh, wow. Challenges are just different at different stages. So I would say with the common theme when you're trying to go after your dreams, because we live in a capitalistic society, so you're always going to have, the biggest challenge is going to be access to capital. It keeps so many brilliant ideas from ever getting off the ground, because you have to do something that's very, very difficult already, and then you have to self-fund it. And self-funding is extremely difficult. For me, doing Websites Express to get to $1 million in sales, I mean, we were self-funded for the basically first 10 years of that business. And that self-funding means extremely large amounts of credit cards, right? I would have 15 credit cards, you know, $10,000 each, managing all of those like a full-time job, paying payroll. I mean, it was just so amount of stress you can be. It's very hard to articulate it, but I didn't have access to capital. Every time I tried to go to a bank, I couldn't get a loan. Even there was a point where, you know, I had $100,000 in cash, couldn't even put that into a CD as leverage against the loan from a bank. I mean, they just were like, we're just not loaning you this money. And, you know, a lot of that has to do with institutional racism and different things that are happening. But those are things that we are dealing with. So biggest challenges is access to capital, institutional racism that we're dealing with, the lack of a community to get investors from. I mean, it was just impossible to even think like, hey, I can get 10 of my friends to put $10,000 together and we could launch a business. That seems simple, but you would be hard pressed in your lifetime to see a group of Black people come together and put $10,000 in a pot and do that in 2020. You know, it's just not part of our culture. So we're always trying to self-fund, and that spends up so much energy that we can't really get it off the ground, because you're dealing with all the other challenges that someone who just got a check for $1 million is dealing with, right? So those are the biggest two challenges, I would say, but they're interrelated that I saw in any business or any venture that I ever do.
Absolutely. So on the flip side of that, then, what would you say has been a biggest accomplishment for you up to this point?
Business-wise, I would say Black Achievers is the biggest accomplishment, because it's just been a dream just to even work with this group of leaders that's on my leadership team. Is just to see these people I don't know come together, because they already have this in their spirit and their soul, and God already gave that to them. And to see hundreds of people show up, and to see thousands of people on our list, and we don't even have a marketing budget. We have over 4,000 people in Cincinnati, and I mean, they're responsive, they're helpful. If you send out an email that says, hey, I want to find an accountant or a lawyer, people are responding back and helping each other and working together. I mean, it's just unbelievable. And that's the biggest accomplishment by far on my business side. And on my personal side is, I didn't have children until very late. So I was 40 and 43, I guess, when I had children. And it just changes your entire perspective on the way the world works. You see how they interact with the world and how they're treated as black people in the world at such a young age when they're so delicate. So I'm looking at that, and I want to protect them, and it's just a wonderful experience to have children. So I would say personally, just having a family and something that's my own, I would have never thought in my 20s that it would have been as much a delight that I'm currently going through right now.
Absolutely, absolutely. So sticking on along the business lines of things, what is the one thing that you wish that you would have known when you started your business?
One thing that I wish I would have known, I wish I would have had the understanding of how to scale. That, I knew it would be hard. I knew a lot of things, but I didn't know that even if you beat all the odds and you get your business to a certain level where you're supporting yourself and you're supporting your family, which I did, it is very, very difficult to scale. It is a whole different mindset, and it is a different way of thinking. It requires a tremendous amount of risk, and I did a very bad job of doing that with Websites Express, and I wish I could do it over again, and hopefully I get the chance with Black Achievers to scale it. But that's the one thing, is that I did not realize that, when you see a company that has 400 or 500 locations, or even 20 or 30 locations, just how incredibly complex that is to get that off the ground. So that's the one thing, is scaling. And I really want Black Achievers to scale. I would like us to have 500 chapters, over 1 million people within the next 5 or 6 years. And that's going to take a skill set that I currently don't have, that I'm developing, is how to scale that.
Absolutely. Well, I would love to see that as well, because I know just from being connected to so many different people from around the world, it's definitely a huge need. So, of course, there's the women groups, the networking groups, but as far as from, a Black Achievers, Black professionals, I can tell you that I have not seen very many just around the networking groups that I am a part of that is worldwide. So I would definitely love to see, that in the future, and I think that'll absolutely be amazing. So we've talked a little bit about, of course, the crisis and how, we're really trying to, make sure we love on our kids, and, how it's, of course, is impacting everybody. The COVID-19 crisis is impacting everybody in some kind of way. Can you share with the listeners how it has impacted you and your business?
Yeah, so I work at a bank in Cincinnati, so we're all working from home just like everyone else for the most part. So just the impact personally is, how do you work from home? How do you keep continuing to homeschool your children, and teach all of the things that they would be learning if they were in daycare? So we're trying to order those things on Amazon and figure that whole thing out. Just impactful as far as time and space, and not feeling like, you can separate yourself from work, and there's no line in the sand, so to speak, where you can go out and go somewhere. I mean, now everything is shut down. You can't really take a break or leave your house. A lot of fear from ourselves here, and also our family. No one wants anyone to get sick. So just a lot of anxiety. And then on top of that, you see all these numbers, right, from unemployment rates. I think 10 million people have filed unemployment. So you're thinking yourself that you have a job and a career, but then you're also feeling like, hey, this is a huge tsunami out here that's really impacting a lot of people. So how is that going to play itself out when this is all over? And just, from an investment standpoint, 401ks have been hurt, the economy, or, just all different types of things are happening all at once. And it is overwhelming on a personal level. So I'm hoping that all of the Black Achievers out there are really, basically working together, to help each other and communicating, and we're trying to facilitate that. And then on the Black Achievers front, we've had to cancel, obviously, our event that was for April 30th. We've moved that back to July 30th, hoping that this would all be over by then. We're not sure. We've taken all of our programs, like our mentoring program, and now we're going to try to set up a few additional webinars and seminars online. So we're taking all that onto Zoom. So we're working through how to do that. And then also starting to set up some podcasts like this as well. So it's impacted us a lot on the Black Achiever side because we're all about bringing people together in person. There's just something about being around like-minded people and connecting and shaking hands and getting to know people and feeling the energy and the vibration of people that is truly unique to Black Achievers. So we're kind of hampered by the current situation, but once this is over, I think we'll be back bigger and stronger than ever before.
Absolutely. And, just to piggyback on what you said, I know I've had several conversations with many different, business owners and, who are, of course, at a point where they're had to scramble to figure out how can I transition into a virtual, like you mentioned with the Zoom and all of that. So that's, it's really, one of those things that, with everything that's going on, it's more or less like we just have to wait and see. But it's good that you are putting things in place, as far as like the Zooms and the podcasts and all of that, because when you have those, introverts, extroverts, however you want to put it, but I know that I'm connected to a lot of extroverts who are in the house like, oh, my gosh, I just need to be able to go out and connect with someone. And I said, well, let's hop on Zoom. Let's do it, face-to-face on Zoom, because I get it. I know it's tough, connect with someone, besides your family. And, so it's just one of those things that, we just have to wait and see and pray that, by July, we'll be, through all of this. So
yeah, if it's not over by then, I'll go so crazy.
Oh, I know. I know, right? And I'll tell you that I have definitely heard some, talk about possibly August, and I'm like, no, stop pushing it back. But, like I said, it's one of those things that we'll just have to, wait, just wait and see. So today I shared, of course, the empowerment quote, which is the secret of success is to do the common thing uncommonly well, by John D. Rockefeller Jr. Could you share with the listeners what this means to you?
So what that means to me would be is to keep it simple. I mean, it's easier said than done. But if your business model is not something that is simple, it'll be impossible to execute. I know when I was young, a lot of my business ideas were just so complex, multifaceted, 10 different revenue streams, just all over the place. And as you get more mature, you realize that you need to be able to boil basically your idea down to one core competency. Like Black Achievers, we bring Black professionals together. There's a lot of other things that we do, but that's at the core of what we do. Microsoft is technology or software. Google allows you to do search. I mean, it has to be something very simple like that, and then you build around it. But you don't start with, this huge thing. You won't ever be able to get it off the ground. And then the uncommonly part is just to do it extremely well with your own flavor and the way you would do it. So don't say, wow, I'm going to start a business because no one is doing this. That's the wrong mindset. You want to start a business where there is a market, a lot of people are doing it, and you want to do it uncommonly well. You want to go where there's a lot of people spending a lot of money or there's a huge amount of need. You don't want to go in your basement and start creating this widget or this software or whatever, and no one is paying for software like it. You're on the wrong path. And I wish someone would have told me that when I was younger, because I spent a lot of time and a lot of money and a lot of ideas that were similar to that, where I was so proud of, I'll be the only one offering this or only one offering this service or whatever. And that is the number one thing you want to stay away from. You want to really be like, hey, there's people doing, McDonald's is doing hamburgers, and you'll see all these new hamburger shops popping up, Zipburger, all of them, but they're doing it uncommonly differently, just a different way, but it's the same product because people buy hamburgers. And it's the same concept when you want to start your business. It's very important to understand that concept.
Absolutely. So what would you say is the best advice you've ever received, and if you can share who gave it to you?
Oh, that's an easy one. Is that right? It's, there's certain things in your life where you never forget the moment that it happened and the smell and everything. And this is one of them. So I'm like 9 years old. I'm in the kitchen. I'm coming in. I'm feeling myself. I'm talking so much smack, and I think I'm amazing. And I'm telling, and my mom she's washing dishes, right? And she's over washing dishes, and I remember being all the way across the room, and there was a table in between us. And, and I'm like, Mom, I'm gonna be the baseball player. I'm going to be a professional football player. I'm going to be class president, and I'm going to be this and gonna, right? And she came across that table and grabbed me by my shoulders, and she looked at me and she said, I don't want you to be like everyone else talking about what you're going to do. You come to me and tell me about what you did. And I don't care if you win, you lose, or draw. I don't care if it's successful or not. You just tell me about what you did. And the way she looked at me, because she was so irritated about what people were going to do, it just stuck with me for my whole life, and it really made me a doer. So from that moment forward, you never heard me talk about what I was going to do. It was always like, hey, I did this or I did that. Now, you might judge me and say, hey, it wasn't that great or whatever, but it made me into a person who only talks about things that I've actually done. And it makes you a doer, and it really impacted my life in a way where I actually started a Websites Express, and now I've started a Black Achievers, and I'm not someone that's just sitting there talking about what I'm going to do.
You are an action taker. I absolutely love it. Yes, I love that. It's gotta love the advice, especially that we get from our parents. Of course, I am a parent, and I, would think that I've given my kids some really good advice as well. So, gotta absolutely love that. So, what is the one piece of advice that you would give our listeners on how they can improve their own growth and success journey?
The big thing is connect with people. A lot of times we think we're an island that we can go and bury ourselves in a book, or we can go and learn things, and the world doesn't work that way. The world is basically made up of small groups of people. And understand people, learn people, befriend them, take the positive, leave the negative, and work on those skill sets. And I think that would make people way more successful than trying to educate yourself out of it. I mean, education is important, and you need to have that. But in addition to that, you have to realize that everything is, centered around the people that you know. And if you really are stuck in a situation, I got stuck for probably 15 years where I didn't make a new friend, right? I had my friend from college, and I was good. I was like, hey, this is it. Like, I can't get hurt this way. This man's got my back. I got his back. We are good. And we marched together lockstep for over 15 years. But what happened is that you get to a point where you can't have exponential success because you only have one or two friends. So with Black Achievers, I've learned that now I'm meeting amazing people. People have completely different mindsets who challenge me in different ways, who make me grow in ways that might only took a week now, whereas I would have never reached that in a year or 2 years with only having one or two friends. So I would say expand your circle. And like you said earlier, it's not just one mentor. Have multiple mentors in different areas. That is important too. Like, there's not just one mentor at a time. You should have a person who's really, really good maybe at finance and money, but another person who's really, really good in another area, and have them and take as much knowledge as you can from those. So that would be my advice, is expand your network in a very, very strategic way, and you will get way better results.
Absolutely. I think that is amazing advice. So at this time, if you could please share what is actually coming up on the horizon. So what are any big plans for the future for your business?
So Black Achievers, and it's a nonprofit organization, but what's on the horizon right now is that we've already created a Black Business Directory. And I think one of the things I preach about to our group is that, we put a lot of emphasis on trying to hold corporations accountable, like Procter & Gamble, for instance, and saying, hey, you need a supplier diversity program, you need to support Black-owned businesses, you need to spend money with 10% Black businesses. And that's a great thing, and we want to continue to pressure those companies because they're taking money out of our community. But we as Black professionals have large amounts of discretionary income, or income that we spend, and we need our own supplier diversity program. You can't empower Black people and black neighborhoods and black communities without supporting black-owned businesses with some of your money. So one of the things we preach is that if you tithe 10% at church, you should also dedicate 10% of your income towards supporting a black-owned business. So I never had done that. Until I was 40 years old, I had never thought in those terms. I had never consciously went out of my way to support a black-owned business, even when I was a black-owned business owner, right? It's just not part of our culture. No one taught me to do that or the importance of doing it. So once I learned that was important, I sat down with our family here and said, hey, we're going to purchase some products from a website called WeBuyBlack.com, which is a great source for things like detergent and just simple things. So we just, purchase our detergent from a black-owned business that's in Atlanta through that website instead of going to Amazon. And it makes us feel like we're actually helping our community. And then locally, we have this directory that has over 3,000 businesses in it in Ohio, Kentucky, and Indiana, and over 300 or so businesses in Cincinnati, and we're promoting that so people can go there and find out where to get a realtor or a black-owned, real estate agent or lawyer or doctor or pediatrician. And we've helped people. People come to us and say, hey, I need a pediatrician, and we refer them to them, and that gives business to that pediatrician and makes our community stronger. So that's one of the real big initiatives that we have that we're going to be pursuing. Then in addition to that is an investment club. So we're putting it together to allow African Americans and Black Achievers members to invest together, right, to pull our money together, take advantage of the new crowdfunding laws, and start to buy real estate and to buy businesses and to own things as a group, with people who you would have never have had access to before. If you want to invest right now, you might go to your immediate circle and you might be able to raise $5,000. But if you come to Black Achievers, you may be able to be in a group where we raise $500,000. So it's just scale and allows us to buy businesses and really start to uplift our own community. So that's another big thing that we're working on. And then the third thing that we're working on is a mentorship program to facilitate mentors within our organization, because you have a lot of black professionals like myself who are over 40 who can mentor, young kids that are coming out of college right into the workforce, and they don't have to make the same mistakes and learn the same games all over again, all on their own. Like, that has to stop. People have to step in and say, hey, we're going to, help educate you so you don't have to keep making the same mistakes. So those are the three things that we're working on. We think that that's going to have a huge impact in 2020 and 2021.
Absolutely. And those are absolutely great. Like you said, it's going to have a huge impact. Those are three amazing things that I'm definitely looking forward to, staying connected and learning more. Certainly how I can, share with, some of the listeners as well. So if you could take the time now to share with the listeners how they can stay connected with you and support your efforts.
So the primary way is through our website, which is at blackachievers.com. And then outside of that, we are strong on LinkedIn, which you can connect with me at Michael Moore, or Black Achievers, which is our LinkedIn group. And then on social media, we're on Instagram and Facebook at Black Achievers in the number 1. So all of those platforms we're very, very active on, and you can sign up for our newsletter on our website.
Perfect. Thank you so much. It has truly been an honor and a pleasure to have you as a guest on the show. So I just want to say thank you for taking time out of, your busy schedule to give me the opportunity, to have you as a guest on the show. I wish you much success and blessings as you continue on your journey.
Well, thank you, Jaresha. This is a great show, and you've done an amazing job, and you're a great host, and I will definitely help promote your podcast throughout our organization as well. Thank you very much.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So, listeners, thank you for tuning into tonight's show with our special guest, Michael Moore. Michael shared his amazing story and journey to encourage, equip, and empower you for growth and success. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, starting your own radio show, or low-cost advertising highlighting your book, business, or events, please email envisionb@empoweronpurpose.com. Please tune in next week where you will hear an amazing story and journey from another leader, influencer, and motivator. Until next time, be blessed.
Thank you for listening to the EmPower Hour with Jaresha, where Jaresha speaks with leaders, influencers, and motivators who share their journeys in personal and professional growth, empowerment tips, lessons learned, and keys of success that will empower you to be your best self. Follow Jaresha on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Jaresha Moore, and visit EmPowerOnPurpose.com. And remember to be intentional and be empowered, and have a great day on purpose.